welcome back to More Cake. Yes, ma'am. Badass out of art. I'm your girl, Jelena, and today we're going to do something a little bit different. About 3 years ago now, I taught an online Facebook class where I taught you how to use your mobile device to get professional quality photos. Now, that class blew up when I did the class. It was taught to over 200 people at the same time, and I only taught it once. This is going to be a 4-part tutorial. The things that we're going to go over are backdrops and props, lighting versus natural and studio lighting, editing and watermarking your photos, and also framing and details. Now, these are great tips that anybody can use, whether you are classically trained or not. A little bit of history on me is I went to school for photography and graphic design. I have a bachelor's in fine arts and in visual communications, and this is my zone. This is what I do. And somehow I turned my life to cake. I don't know how that happened. When I started out doing cakes, though, if you go back and look at my photos from way back in the day, I actually took the crappiest photos. And that was because I never thought that photos of food, let alone any cake that I was creating, could look good, right? I just thought, here's a photo of my cake for someone to see and hopefully they'll order for me, right? That was my whole thing. I didn't really know what I was doing. And my photos were not very well placed. They were tinted yellow. I even tried to spruce them up and they still don't look as great. They look fine. They looked fine, but they didn't look as great as I have made them. And that was because I was a fine art photographer. I never thought of food as art when I started in my cake journey. I just thought I was doing cake. Let's go over a little bit of new news. Don't do it. Stop it. Don't do it no more. Because I'm about to help you out. You're welcome. A couple of no-nos that I have found in cake. And when I say cake, insert whatever you make. Creations, treats, sweets, whatever. Cake. Your cake photography is that I've noticed a lot of people using their kitchen counters, which is fine, but in the background, the kitchen counters are filled with, all the dishes you've used, all the spatulas, bowls, and then I see a pile of dishes in your sink. Another no-no is I've seen people take pictures of their cakes on their counter with their living room in the backdrop, which would be fine, but unfortunately, I'm staring at a pile of clothes that you probably have to fold on the couch. So let's refrain from having that in the background also. Now, we do work from home. A lot of us bakers work from home. If you're watching me, most likely you work from home as a baker, and you may even have a 9-to-5 job, right? And that's fine. But what would be nice is that we remind people that, yes, we are a home business, but they don't need to see our home life, right? We have to keep those things separately. So let's try not to have a pile of dirty dishes or a pile of dirty clothes in the backdrop. Let's try to keep those things out of the photos. Another thing is the cake in a box. And everybody has done it. I have done it too. And it is by far the most annoying photo. I would probably prefer the dishes in the background versus the cake in the box. Because the cake in the box looks like I don't have time, nor do I care. And what I say to that is don't take photos of your creations in a box unless you can make that look very elegant and pretty, which a lot of photos can't. But then there's that photo of your cake and then there's a box top flapped over the top of it and you can't see the rest of the cake, right? You're looking at brown because that's the color of the box and you're instead of focusing on what the cake is, right? So let's try to take some time to take photos of your cake, which leads me to my numero uno, do, okay? And do not. This is my numero uno. You want to make sure that you always take a photo of your creation before you leave the bakery, your home, wherever you created this cake at. And wherever this cake is looking the best, the moment you finished it, that's where you take your photo at, okay? Do not get in the car with your cake and then take it at the venue. You get to the venue and the lights are flashing. It's a party. Everybody's like, hey, it's sweaty, it's hot, and your cake is put in a corner and you can't see nothing when you take this photo. Okay? That is the worst. All right? Or You know, you're bringing the cake to a beautiful venue where you're like, oh, I'm just going to wait till the photographer gives me their photos. And the photographer takes like freaking 5 weeks to get the photos. Like, I don't got time, but get the photos to the bride, right? So you ain't got time for that. You don't have time for that. Because I've been a part of weddings with my cakes. And when the photographers send me the photos, they send me the ugliest. Like, why did, in God's green earth, would you take the photo of this cake in that angle, right? So don't depend on anybody else for photos either. Always take the photo yourself and before you leave to deliver the cake. Now, if you're thinking, oh, but I'm going to be late, I don't have time to take photos, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear it. Because when you deliver a cake, I guarantee you, 85, I want to say 95, but I'm going to give you guys a little bit of leeway. 85% of the time when you go to deliver the cake, nothing is even freaking set up. The party isn't done decorating. The mother is running in circles because her child isn't going to sleep and she's trying to get him to nap and she's trying to decorate at the same time. And people are showing up early, which is annoying. And people are showing up hella early. She has nothing going on. You show up with the cake and she's like, oh, just put the cake over there. Right? And can you set up, have you gotten this one? Can you set up the sweet table when you put the cake down? I've gotten that all the time. And I'm like, okay, ma'am, I'm here to deliver your cake and get the hell out of here. Right? I don't need your issues. Right? I don't need your situation. I don't need it. But that's what happens. So at the end of the day, no one is ever running on time. I had delivered a cake on time. Mind you, I had to redo this cake, and that's a long story short. I mean, that's not a long story short, but this is a long story short. I had to redo the cake over again, and I delivered the cake, and I was on time. On time. And when I got there, the birthday girl wasn't there. It was at a restaurant, and she wasn't there. And I'm like, okay. We waited a whole 45 minutes for her to even show up. Like, not even anybody from that was going to be at her dinner was even there. And I'm like, wait, I'm confused. Where are the people that's supposed to be at the dinner? Like, they weren't even there either. And that was the last time I ever arrived on time because no one is ever on time. And then when people want to come pick up a cake, they ain't gonna come. I don't even need to tell y'all how you gotta give them, okay, I'm home from 11 to 12. And if you don't come from 11 to 12, your cake will be outside on the doorstep. And they show up at 3 o'clock. Sweetie, what part of I'm not gonna be here? You ain't understand. So, and then you didn't take that time still to take a photo of your cake. And then the last thing you want to do is get in the car with the cake and the freaking thing falls apart. Who knows? Things shift. Strawberries shift. Chocolate starts touching. Candy apples start to melt. Things start to happen. Just take a photo of it before you leave the area in which you made your creation, your home or whatever bakery. And the other thing is that this photo that you're taking isn't for the current customer that you're about to deliver for or someone's about to come pick up. This photo is for your future customer. It's for the customer you want, right? So when you're thinking of taking these photos, you want the product to look as beautiful as it can possibly look. And then also, you want to take a good shot. The last thing you want to do is have a cake in a box, dishes behind your cake, a dark corner that your cake has been put in at the venue, not good lighting. Now your cakes are yellow. So take your photo in a controlled environment before you even leave your home. I'm telling you, take 10 to 15 minutes. That's all it takes, 10 to 15 minutes. That is it. What my goal is to teach you guys is that photography in any business is important, especially if there's a product involved. It's very important. Now, a lot of us cannot afford a professional DSLR camera or anything like that we all have to use some sort of mobile device, which is fine because it's instant, it's quick, we can get it over with and done. Take the photo, right, and post the photo, right? So that is what I'm going to teach you, but I'm going to give you some tips and tricks along the way to make these mobile device photos look even better. And I'm speaking from experience because at one point I didn't have a phone, I didn't have my computer, I didn't have my camera was broken. Is broken. I still have it because I'm hoping one day the camera gods will come and fix it. But my camera was broken. And so I was using an old iPad to take photos. Now, these photos you have to think are going to go in your portfolio. And you want your portfolio to look as good as it possibly can look. You only want the best photos in that portfolio, right? You don't want, you know, pictures of your kids or cakes that have like torn up or broken. You want to make sure you get the best photos you could possibly get for your portfolio. Your portfolio can be your website where all your photos are in that photo album, or it can be your Instagram. And a lot of people have been using their Instagram lately, also their Facebook. So you want to make sure your photos are appealing and something interesting that people want to look at and clean, and to the point. Because when you go off in a tangent, it gets a little confusing what I'm supposed to be looking at here, right? Now, a lot of you have seen this photo on my Instagram, right? When I created this Batman cake back in the day, and I took this photo with an iPad. Mind you, my iPad is cracked, and I took the photo with it. I still got that iPad that the kids use. Took a photo with it, edited the photo on there, and posted the photo. And I was so shocked that so many of you recently have seen this and got so excited about what I was going to teach you guys. So make sure you guys stay tuned. Watch this part, watch part 2, watch part 3, and watch part 4 so you guys can see the entirety of what's going on.